How do men and how does society train women to go for broke men? How does society actually train us women to go for less than we deserve? If you ever grew up and probably heard the sentence, brains matter more than beauty, and love should be love, it shouldn't be based on money. If you go for a man for his materials and what he can offer you, then you're materialistic and it's not going to end well. You're transactional. This is something that a lot of us have heard growing up as women, especially actually from women. And it's not actually because they want us anything ill. It's because they, as much as we are actually brainwashed by patriarchy. We've been brainwashed by society, by men, to believe that our servitude, our energy, our existence is in debt to men, which means that the idea of love should be enough to entice us to be the perfect woman. When you tell women that, oh, love is enough and you should go for love, that makes a woman believe that that is all she should be looking for, which makes her overlook the fact that going for a man that can only offer love is a red flag in itself. Because love, unconditional love, does not exist under patriarchy. That is why these broke men are so adamant about trying to make women do more for them for less investment. They focus on unconditional love because that's a marketing tactic to get the woman they want, the highest caliber woman they can find for the lowest amount of money, investment, time. They essentially want the premium product for a discount. And that might sound really, really harsh to hear, but that is essentially the mindset that patriarchy has instilled in men, and they've actually also instilled it in women. That's exactly why sometimes when people date, it's called the dating market. Are you back on the market again? Because the truth of the matter is, it's all about bargaining. It's all about negotiation. And they've realized that if they're good salesmen, then they sell the idea of love, kind of like a product that you buy from Wish or a Chinese website that says it has all of these specifications and it's going to fulfill some desire or need that you have. And then when it gets to your house, it's not what you ordered, or it breaks extremely quickly. The reason why I always tell women that it's such an important part of your life to become financially literate is because when you become more financially literate and you start being into economics, then you'll start understanding how men actually think about women. Have you ever heard a man say, I just want unconditional love to another man? No, unless it's on TV in series like Love is Blind, where they're posing in front of the camera. And you know what? These men always end up being the worst men. Oh, I want love. I want love. Because first and foremost, they know that this is the only thing they're willing to offer. And they believe that they're going to get everything in return for offering just love. And women have been brought up to believe that love is all that matters, so that we actually become more comfortable with lowering our own value, lowering our boundaries, lowering our standards. Because if it means that we can get love, then we should go ahead all the way. It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale that we have been programmed to believe is out there. And I will say this, it is out there. But what we've been programmed to believe is that love only exists in a vacuum of poverty and struggle. That love can only exist when a woman and a man got nothing going on and the woman is supporting the man. Because we've all met the type of person who says, well, I'd rather choose love than I would choose money. You can have both. And you don't even need opulence. You don't need to have a big castle with people working for you, washing your body. You don't need that to have a good life where you're taken care of and your needs are met. But unconditional love is not unconditional if it's bringing you into worse conditions. You know why broke men, say that they don't like gold diggers and women are so materialistic and broke men deserve love too, it's because they see a vision in themselves about the fact that they could become the type of man who could have the type of woman that they want, but they're not willing to do the work that they truly need to do to get there. So by acting all, I'm so sorry for me, boo-hoo, so sad, they essentially trigger the part in women that makes them feel guilty. They use guilt to get women to lower their value, to lower their standards, settle for less. And you know what happens when these women that are good women settle for less with a man who can't even take $500 out of the bank to help her? When this man suddenly gets his money up, then he leaves her because she reminds him of the struggle of not being able to give her anything, and he doesn't want to be connected to that part of his past. That does not mean that you should be going for some guy who's only a billionaire, trillionaire. No. But if a guy uses being broke as motivation for someone to date him, that's bait. That is rage bait 101. Because a man can be struggling, a man can be doing what he needs to do to get to where he needs to go and not be talking about it. He can be taking care of what he needs to be taken care of and not be talking about how I'm so poor, because he's acting on his potential. He's not talking about it. Or you know what else happens when a man goes for the girl he wants and then she's like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance, and she lowers her standards and everything that she wants for him. She becomes a worse version of herself. And you know what this man now has? He has an alibi. He has a reason to leave her. He even has a reason to drain her for resources, for energy, so that he can become the best version of himself, so that he can actually go out and get the girl that he truly wants now. This is a very, very feminine trait that a lot of men have, because they haven't actually learned to fill their own cup when it comes to appreciating femininity. So instead, what they do is that they actually drain femininity. And it's usually in order to appeal to the male gaze. And you know what? It happens to women too. Women do this as well. When women, mothers, whatever, tell their daughters or tell younger women, you should be thinking about love instead of materials. Are you sure you should be having these aspirations? Are you sure you would be happy being, more stay at home if that's what you wanted, and have your business at home? There's a feminine part of them that they haven't healed, that they're now projecting onto you because they want to steal your femininity. A lot of the times, the women that tell you, oh, are you sure you want that? Or are you sure you don't want unconditional love? What about love? Love this, love that? Think about it like this. Are these women that you want your life to be like? Is that someone who's actually happy? As someone who's very adamant about the fact that if I ever have children, I would want to be home with them because I know that's what suits me. I've been in conversations with women that say, wow, are you sure you're not going to be lonely or alone? Girl, no. Are you sure that that's not a trap? I'm not stupid. I actually know that I got to have something going on for myself. I'm not trying to bring a child into this world pretending that everything is going to be figured out for the rest of my life. And that is not making a woman make smarter choices. Saying, oh, you really think you want that? Is actually making it very clear that someone hasn't healed their feminine energy to a point where they feel like they need to control someone else's feminine energy. It's not just about broke money-wise. You also can have a broke mentality. And when a man especially has a broke mentality, he will not be able to rise to the level where he can make a woman feel what she needs to feel to be able to flourish. But the man feels like he is entitled to more because he believes in the victim mentality. The man has grown up believing that because he's a man, he's entitled. Not understanding that the duty of the man is to get up and go do something. The man knows that he wants the things that come with being the man that gets up and does stuff, but he doesn't want to do that work. And that's exactly why he doesn't actually appreciate the woman he's with when the perfect woman comes into his life for him, even if he's not really doing anything. He's not going to appreciate her because you know what happens? He's projecting. He does not like the fact that he can't get what he wants, so he's gonna keep you from getting what you want. He's essentially projecting his whole identity onto the woman, his brokenness onto the woman, which is gonna break her. He does not like being reminded of the fact that this woman chose to go with him, even though he was broke and had nothing going on and was a dusty. He does not like to be reminded of that, which is why he can never actually prosper, because who is around him will be a direct mirror of decisions that he's made, and he does not like that. It feels bad for him, for his ego. So he cannot grow, which is why we should never, ever build a man. The only thing you should be going and building is build a bear. Go to build a bear. If you're really trying to build something, build a bear at Build a Bear. Build a business. Build a foundation for yourself. Build financial literacy. Do not build a man. That does not mean that you shouldn't be a good woman to your man. It just means you're not gonna do the dirty work to get to where he needs to go. Because you know what that makes you? That makes you his mother. And when a woman turns into the mother figure, that is especially when she becomes unattractive to the man, and he can use the whole, oh, you know what? I'm not attracted to you anymore. And then he exits. And I'm not saying you gotta trap this man. I'm just saying you're gonna be left feeling stupid. You're gonna be left feeling drained because you put all of your energy. You're gonna be hardened to a point where you start maybe resenting men, hating men, which is why it is never your business to build the man. The man needs to build himself. If a man can pay his bills when you're not there, he can pay the full bills. Why is he making you pay half? And that's a question we gotta ask. If a single mother can take care of children and get everything down, even though it's hard, why is he now complaining about 50-50? Ask yourself that. Broke men believe in getting the validation for who they're gonna become before they actually become that person, instead of rising to the occasion and realizing you gotta do something to get there. That's why they try to condition the best they can women to believe that people should go for the underdog, the man who doesn't have it going on. Because you know what? They wouldn't have to do this. They wouldn't have to try to convince women to go for this if it wasn't true that you can have both comfortability, love, and everything you want at the same time. Men want you to believe that you can't have both love and a life that's secure, healthy, where you have food on the table and things are taken care of and you look good and you don't have to get up in the morning and literally make yourself cry at work. If women couldn't have both, then they wouldn't be up here arguing about that we should need unconditional love and unconditional love is all that matters. And what about the broke guys? They wouldn't be out here saying that, oh, well, if you're going to go for money, then you're not going to get love. They would never ever say that if it wasn't possible to get both. This same thing happens with the whole saying that brains matter more than beauty. It's making women choose between two. So we believe that there can only be one or the other, which means that we are going to be overcompensating to try to fulfill whatever it is we're not getting, because we're meant to believe that you can only have one thing. And of course, that's going to make women feel unfulfilled, because we are brainwashed to believe this is what you should need, this is what you should want. Like, oh, well, you can only be smart or beautiful. You can only have love or money. And women are torn. And you know what happens when women are torn? And now we have to sit and think, especially because men are also always spitting the whole money is the root of all evil. Society is spitting that in general. Then women sit down and become extremely torn. They don't know what they want because they're told they can't have it all. And when women are told they can't have it all, then they become indecisive. And you know what indecisive women are? They're the easiest to manipulate. They're the easiest to push in a specific direction. They're the easiest to get to do more for less in return. Because women believe if they do a lot, then they'll get a lot back. Women are brainwashed to believe in some kind of utopic idea of reciprocation that does not exist. And we're made to believe in this because we're meant to believe that if we want things to be taken care of, that means we're materialistic, we're gold diggers, we're mean, we're not good women. And that makes us see being materialistic, being dolled up, looking good, being on your A game, being the girl you want to be as a bad thing, which makes us project negativity onto those things, which makes us stay far away from them. You start seeing signs when you put energy into those signs. When you start saying that all men are bad and you can only have money or love, or, you shouldn't be worried so much about your looks, they're gonna fade. Money is the root of all evil. You know what you focus your attention onto? Focus on everything that's going wrong, everything that's bad, everything that's not going to bring you prosperity. And you know what happens? Energy flows towards that. That is literally the law of attraction. The law of attraction guides everything. If you're putting your attention onto the fact that, all men are either bums or they're rich, but they're still bums when they're rich. If you can't make yourself believe that you can have both love and you can have money, you can have both beauty and brains, then that's when the patriarchy and men trick you like crazy. Because we're told that, beauty is vain. We're told that money is vain. We're told materialism is bad and you're not a good woman if you like that, which is guilt tripping. And then brains, we're told it's good to be brainy. It's good to be resourceful. It's good to bring something to the table. It's good to be frugal. Men are awarded and praised for their way of spending money, managing money, handling money, growing money. Women are praised for being good at finding deals and saving money. Women are praised for saving money. Look at how much money I've saved. I remember that growing up. I think it was always interesting how I would hear, guy would always talk about like, I got a car or I invested in this. Then I would talk to someone like my grandma and I would pick up on the signs that she's like, it's good to save your money. While my grandma said, this is still a mentality that leads a lot of women into bad situations. Because when you believe that money is evil, when you believe that brains matter more than beauty, what does that mean? It means you become performative, which means that you become the one who's trying to prove to everyone how good you are, which means that you fall more victim to the guilt tripping of, if you're someone who wants things to be taken care of, if you want clothes, if you want, just have things that are good, like make your life better, then you're a bad person, which means now you're trying to prove yourself to the broke men that you don't even need to prove yourself to. And that's why they get your energy, and then they can get more of your attention, they can drain your energy, and then they have access. But when women are praised for only saving money, when women are praised for saving money and men are praised for making money work for them, all of this, that creates a big gap between men and women when it comes to financial literacy. It goes back to that because women are told to be wary. We're told to not risk anything. We're told to not think big. We're told to be restrictive rather than expansive. And that makes us feel like we can't control things around us because we don't know how to. Which means we're going to try to go for someone to validate us, to make us feel like things are in control. And when we're trying to borrow the sense of control, certainty from being around people, that's when our energy as women become extremely easy to harvest. Which is why if you want to make sure that these broke men can't get to you, you have to become extremely comfortable with the uncomfortability of being a woman who's seen as a mean woman, who's a gold digger, who's vain, who's materialistic. Because you probably aren't. You are not materialistic for wanting to have a new pair of earrings. You're not materialistic for wanting to be able to go to Victoria's Secret and get some new lingerie. You're not materialistic for wanting to have a roof over your head and things taken care of so you can wake up in the morning refreshed and not stressed. That is literally ensuring that you have the energy you need to have to become the person you need to be. And if you cannot do that, then you cannot be the woman that the man that can provide that for you needs. And if a man is trying to get all of that out of you without paying back, without doing something that you can become the best version of yourself, then you're doing charity work. Charity. And you know what happens when you do charity work? Do you expect anything back? No. Does the person you're doing charity work for know that this is charity work? Yeah. Do they still want the work? Yeah. That's why these men are not going to say, I'm so broke, I'm going to work on myself. They want everything they can get. They're going to guilt trip you. They're going to tell you that materialism is bad. They're going to tell you that money is evil. And they're going to tell you, well, your mom said it too, so you should believe it. They want you to become confused, so you become easily manipulated. So you can't be certain about the fact that you're priceless. You're the most valuable thing.